Snow chances continue to increase this weekend and next weekend for areas of the country, and this does include areas of the South also. So the first thing we'll do is we'll dive into all these individual model runs from overnight into this morning. This will excite some people, get you hyped up if you're a winter weather fan. But just remember, this is not a forecast, but it makes sense that we're seeing some of these wild model runs because we are entering a pattern that's more favorable for winter weather, even for areas further to the south. For the entire second half of the video, we'll geek out with you guys a little bit, discuss the pattern itself and the energy associated with it. So we'll have fun doing that also. My name is Mitch. Good Sunday morning. I hope you guys are doing well and having a wonderful weekend so far. Subscribe if you haven't. Like the video if you like it. And if anybody has anything I can pray about or pray over, please drop it in the comments below. Let's get rocking and rolling this morning. So we're going to go over all these individual model runs first, and we're going to start off with this coming Wednesday, January the 14th. Timestamp is up here if I forget to mention the date or the day of the week, because I will, because I'm talking a million miles per hour. I'm trying to just go through all these little tabs, and there's a timestamp right over here. So we're going to start off with last night's Euro run, and then we'll take a look at the morning Euro run. So I don't like to just show the current run. I like to show the one behind it also, because we can't call it a trend unless we get a consecutive amount of runs showing one thing in one direction, right? So I just want to show you the run prior to the current run with some of these model runs. All right, I'm done talking. Let's go over all this information. So you can tell there's a lot of energy diving down with the trough. All right, the green is rain, blue is snow. And if you see any pink or orange show up on your screen, that's kind of a wintry mix. So we got rain falling across areas of the Mid-South up into the Ohio Valley, the Alps, some snow up here in the Great Lakes region. Let's continue to move this forward. And we take it all the way into Thursday morning, this coming Thursday, the 15th. We got snow flying around across Middle Tennessee, as far south as southern Alabama. Northern Alabama, northern Georgia, even some snow overspreading western areas of North Carolina, and heavier snow like in the Smokies and just the higher elevated regions of the southern Appalachian Mountains of Tennessee, North Carolina, etc. We got some snow breaking out across areas of New England and the Ohio Valley, and we got a lot of energy off the coastline. The cold air has not worked in yet, and energy hasn't really connected the dots, I keep saying, but there is a lot of energy there. Now we continue to move forward, and some dots that I love to say, I've been saying a lot lately, begin to connect. When I say dots, these areas of energy embedded into this trough. And all of a sudden, we get an all-out snowstorm, an Alps crusher, I would add, across the central and southern Alps, the mountains. Okay, we even got snow still flying around here in Middle Tennessee, northern Alabama, northern Georgia, and some snows even trying to break out across the Piedmont Thursday afternoon, the 15th. We got this area of accumulating snow up here in New England and areas of the Northeast. It's snowing like crazy in eastern Kentucky, southern Ohio, West Virginia, areas of Virginia. And then we continue to move forward, and we take it into Thursday evening, and we got an area of snow breaking out across northern South Carolina, some snow in the Piedmont, still snowing like crazy in the Appalachian Mountains. And we got a low pressure just trying to develop here and fill in the gap as far as moisture. A lot of moisture off the coastline, I would add. Okay, now we continue to move forward, and it shows snow overspreading areas of North Carolina. Not heavy, but it's certainly there. And we got an all-out snowstorm across Virginia, areas of the Delmarva, portions of the Tidewater, but just one model run. And we continue to move forward, and it does successfully pop off a decent low here and brings some accumulating snow in Boston up into the down east areas of Maine, into Atlantic Canada, still snowing out in the Tidewater, Delmarva. And then the system is done. And then we look at the one behind it. And check it out. This is Friday afternoon. We got some light snow showers, it looks like, overspreading northern Alabama, northern Mississippi, getting into western Tennessee, northern areas of Arkansas, getting into Missouri, Illinois. This is our second time frame. First time frame, later this work week. Second time frame could come in different waves, but it's basically this coming, next weekend. We're technically still in this weekend. So next weekend, we call it MLK weekend, at least I do. So moving forward, we're getting into Friday evening. We got some snow showers overspreading the Mid-South, even as far south as Atlanta. Not a forecast. So we continue to move forward, and some moisture begins to blossom across northern Georgia. And then we start to move into Saturday, kind of next Saturday, 6 days from now, the 17th. And we have a lot of energy dropping down. Nothing's really consolidating, phasing. We're not getting a huge storm, but we got snow flying around South Carolina, North Carolina, western areas of the Carolinas, areas of the Mid-South, Ohio Valley. And there's some energy diving in. It's just not connecting well. And even show some snow back here in eastern Texas, snow showers across the Mid-South. And we continue to move forward here. And look, this is next Sunday morning, a week from today. Shows a little snow down here in the low country of South Carolina, as far south as northeast Florida. Not a forecast. Okay, so there's energy there. It's just not really getting going. And I want to extend this past this time frame too. And I haven't done this a lot. I want to mention this. I'm going to talk more on this at the very end of the video, but I don't think we're done after this. I mean, look at the very end of the run. It's very far out. Got a big jumbo winter storm showing up at the very end. A lot of cold air crashing down. I think model runs are really going to adjust colder for the long range here in January. But anyways, don't want to get too lost in that. Let's look at the 06Z Euro. This is the current Euro run. It backed off a little bit. I would not call it a trend. Okay, but it did kind of shift the energy a little bit. And I'll compare what that little change in the energy means when we geek out with you guys to the second half of the video. But same thing, Wednesday afternoon, you got a lot of moisture off the coast of the eastern U.S., rain switching to snow in the higher elevations of the Alps. Here comes the big push of cold air embedded into the trough. Some of these greens you see turns to blues, rain to snow, and then all of a sudden it starts snowing like crazy into the wee hours of the morning, Thursday morning the 15th in the mountains, and even some snow in the Cumberland Plateau. I read a comment in last night's video saying, this guy loves saying the Cumberland Plateau. Yeah, I mean, just showing some love. I got a lot of people tuning in from that area, and some areas just really stick in my head. I really wish I knew every little little area. That would be awesome. But anyways, getting in the Thursday morning, you can see snow is flying around across the Ohio Valley, areas of the Midwest. Just an aggressive sort of northwest flow type event. But this is very close to an Alps crusher. And when I say that, a big snowstorm, much bigger snowstorm for the mountains. But we continue to move forward, and it does work out for the Mid-Atlantic still. But you can tell on this run, there's not as much snow overspreading further south into the Carolinas. Don't get bummed out over one model shift, guys, I'm telling you. But it does show some heavy snow across the Mid-Atlantic. Okay, so I mean, that would deliver accumulating snow for the DC, Northern Virginia. I mean, just that entire area. We got a lot of things to figure out. And then we're not in range of the next system, but it does show some snow showers breaking out Friday evening across Middle Tennessee and some energy diving down, but we don't have the entirety of this run, so we don't know what it goes on to do because it only extends out 144 hours out. Now, what about the GFS? Same thing. We'll look at the one from overnight, and then we'll compare it to the one to this morning. All right, Wednesday afternoon. Here it goes. This is really going to catch your eye, but it's not a forecast. We're still trying to figure this one out. But this is Wednesday night into Thursday, the 14th into the 15th. Look at this heavy snow breaking out across Middle Tennessee, northern Alabama. Snow, of course, going up to the Ohio Valley, Central Alps. And then it turns into what looks like an all-out blizzard almost across the southern Alps, mountains of Tennessee, eastern Tennessee, western North Carolina. Show snow as far south as northeast Alabama, northern Georgia. 998, basically riding just east. Low pressure of the mountains here, and that is a lot of heavy snow in eastern Tennessee. And then we continue to move forward and check it out. Breaks out some snow as far south as my neck of the woods, central South Carolina, which is where I live. Shows some heavy snow across the mountains of Virginia, foothills, and then it shows accumulating snow across the Mid-Atlantic, even the Tidewater, the Delmarva, and look at the back end rain, snow showers across areas of North Carolina, getting to Thursday night to Friday. Still snowing in the mountains, by the way. Very close to becoming a big winter storm, snowstorm for areas of the Northeast. And in fact, it does try to turn up the coastline, deliver some accumulating snow for the Jersey Shore, into Nantucket, Martha's Vineyard, etc. So, yeah, we move past. What about the second time frame? Here it comes, delivering some snow. Let's back it up a little bit. This is some snow breaking out Saturday morning across areas, so 6 days from now, the 17th, across areas of Arkansas. Brings some snow into Middle Tennessee, extreme northern Mississippi, northern Alabama, and brings a swath of moderate snow across the entirety of Tennessee, up into Kentucky, into West Virginia, western Virginia, starting to move into western North Carolina, some snow into northern Georgia, and then it begins to kind of get sheared apart. Still snowing lightly across northern Georgia, northern Alabama, points north Sunday, next Sunday, not today, and then it kind of falls apart, okay? And then it moves away. Now, what about the current GFS? Okay, same thing. Wednesday afternoon, look at the snow breaking out, but it's not as aggressive further to the south. Again, do not get bummed out. It's one model shift. We could turn around and shift the entire direction. In fact, we had wonderful trends overnight. And then we're waking up this morning and we're kind of having a tick in the other direction. that doesn't favor snow weather fans. But listen, it's not a trend. We've been doing this for the last 3 or 4 days. I really have, just back and forth. The thing that you watch with the windshield wiper stuff is the windshield wiper effect kind of going in one direction. Is it going in kind of in one direction? Does that make sense? Or are we going the other direction? So what are we doing? What is the windshield wiper effect doing? Is it kind of progressively the medium, the average of it all, kind of in a direction in one direction? Does that make sense? Or is it not? And we're kind of going in one direction of a more wintry scenario, in my opinion. But the current GFS, this is Wednesday evening. Snow breaking out across the Cumberland Plateau, points north into Kentucky, the mountains of North Carolina and Tennessee, Virginia, West Virginia, even some snow in areas of Ohio, getting into PA, and then we move forward, and you can tell there's just not as much snow breaking out across areas deeper into east of the mountains, into the Carolinas, stuff like that. Snow's still falling heavily here in the mountains of Tennessee and North Carolina, especially the higher elevations. We continue to move forward, and it does deliver some light to moderate heavy snow. This is so close to something big, especially the Mid-Atlantic. The Mid-Atlantic is just kind of consistently staying kind of right in the accumulating snow kind of area. And I'm very surprised more people aren't talking about this in the Mid-Atlantic. I mean, you guys are consistently kind of outside the mountains, which I think is a lot to get snow from this event, by the way. If anywhere's a lock, if I had to say yes or no to anything, and you live in the mountains of like North Carolina and Tennessee, I mean, I would say it's a yes for snow later this week. I just don't know how much. But we continue to move forward, and it just shows some weird features here. And that just tells you how tough this forecast is going to be in this pattern. This is Friday morning, shows areas of moderate to heavy snow. From Philadelphia all the way to Boston. And then what about the next event? It's actually, the GFS actually looks a little bit better on the current GFS. So the current let me talk right. The current GFS looks better than the last GFS for the second time frame as we get into this weekend. Here it comes. This is, let's back it up a little bit. I would say snow's breaking out as far west as eastern Oklahoma into Arkansas as we're getting into Friday into Saturday of this week. And then we got some snow as far north as southern Illinois. And then snow is breaking out across, look at the heavy snow in northern Alabama on this run, middle Tennessee into Kentucky. And then we move forward and it gets snow all the way into northern Georgia, Chattanooga, Tennessee, and some snow into the upstate of South Carolina. And then we continue to move forward and the entire dynamics of this system changes. We almost get like an antifront, like a rain chasing moisture kind of event, which by the way, rarely ever works east of the mountains. But look at this. Don't get too caught up in the little glitch here in the matrix. I know it shows green here, then blue here, then blue here. It don't make no sense. Don't get too caught up into that. I notice it because I'm here in the green. I'm like, dude, are you really trying to troll me or something here? But this is a weird look. And I think the second time frame has a lot of things to be ironed out. Tracking both of these time frames are very fun to me. But the second time frame, the setup is just, it's still everywhere. We kind of know what we need to do with the first time frame later this week. The second time frame, man, I don't know what's going to happen. But this is it. This is Sunday morning. Look at this area, heavy snow up here in the Northeast. We got splotchy looking snow as far south as southern Georgia. I mean, it's just a weird look. And then more northwest flow snow. And then, I just don't think we're done. It shows a lot of amped up stuff. You look at the very end of the GFS, it throws one of those fantasy runs. Looks like a cold air damming kind of setup is showing up. I'm telling you, I don't think we're done after these events for winter. I'm telling you. We've been talking so much in the long range that I keep forgetting that it's only January the 11th. And it feels like we're in late January. But we're still technically in early to mid-January. So what does the snowfall map look like for the Euro overnight? Well, this is between now and both events. And it dumps over a half a foot of snow in areas of the Cumberland Plateau. It shows accumulating snow over Nashville, a little bit of snow in the northern Alabama, northern Mississippi, northern Georgia gets a few inches. But the mountainous regions gets crushed. And, we can't ignore a little bit of snow dropping down to the Midwest, the Ohio Valley, and there's some snow. It really kind of just kind of gyps you guys in New York City. But, here's a closer look at the southern Alps here. It just crushes these areas. Gatlinburg gets hit hard. The Smokies gets over a foot. The Tri-Cities regions of Northeast Tennessee gets hit hard. Not a forecast. Please don't look at this and your eyes are immediately locked in. You're going to tell everybody and their cousins, uncles, great aunts, pet hamster that it's going to snow, 10 inches of snow in like Johnson City, Tennessee. That's not what you do here, guys. That's not what you do. Okay. So I'm telling you, the mountains are really flirting with a big snowstorm here. But then you look, let's see. Then you look at the Euro ensemble. No, let's go back and look at this. Let's look at this. And let's look at that. And let's look at the current Euro run. Okay. Now this only goes out, remember, this only goes out to about Friday night. But I mean, so it basically only shows the first time frame and like the beginning stages of the second time frame. But I mean, it really, and let's look at this. It shows a lot of accumulating snow in the mountains, and it shows that area right here in the mid-Atlantic. And just to take a closer look here at the mid-Atlantic, and it shows, accumulating snow in the DC into Virginia, areas of the Tidewater, Delmarva area, and it shows West Virginia getting hit hard. It's not a forecast, though. And then we look at the Euro ensemble. Okay, this is both events from the Euro ensemble overnight. And I mean, you're getting some teaser members trying to show snow south of the mountains, kind of down into Atlanta, Columbia. I mean, even over into the eastern sections of North Carolina, southern areas of Alabama. You can see and I looked at the members this morning. Some of these members do like the idea of some light snow down here into the weekend. But of course, the signal gets stronger once we get further north into the Piedmont. Little half-inch of snow signal here in Charlotte, over an inch here in Nashville. But, eastern Tennessee, western North Carolina looks really good here. And then it increases once you get into the mid-Atlantic and the Northeast. I do want to go all the way out, though, of the entirety of the run. And it continues to increase, which tells me there's some flashes later in the run, too. Now, if you look at the GFS, this is the run from this morning. It definitely hits the mountains hard. And it shows the idea of a touch of snow. It kind of flirts with what the Euro is showing, kind of south of the mountains, further in the deep south of the southeast. And then, of course, it tries to hit the mid-Atlantic and then up the I-95 corridor for the Northeast and New England, and it crushes the mountains here pretty hard. But it shows most of Tennessee getting accumulating snow, including areas of northern Alabama, northern Mississippi, northern Georgia. Now, if you look at the run from overnight, and the footprint is a little bit different, but man, we're still trying to figure the second time frame is tough. But the GFS ensemble, it shows a little love south of the favored climate regions, but the mountains, I mean, it's showing a good bit of snow. Cumberland Plateau, you can quite literally see where it is on the ensemble mean here. But snowier times are on the way, folks, and we're gonna get in the forecast range here in the next few days or so. So just hold tight. Now, this is where we geek out with you guys a little bit. So at first, I want to take a look at a kind of a broad look at all the energy associated with both time frames. This is starting off Wednesday morning, and this is energy at 18,000 feet up in the air. All these little vortices right here, kind of slashes of colors, yellows, orange, and reds. This is energy in the atmosphere. When I talk about dots connecting, this is what I mean. So, deep breath. Wednesday morning. Let's get some water here because this is a lot. It's a lot to talk about, guys. So, Wednesday morning. A lot of energy around. All right. This is that first time frame. Check out how all the energy is coming together. First off, this area of energy right here is going to scoot on off out ahead of the main trough, digging down. That's going to try to develop a low pressure, and it's just going to miss. All right, this is not going to combine with this energy. But as we continue to move forward, there's two things I'm looking at here on the Euro. And this is the Euro from overnight. This energy, and then this energy south of it. You need these to combine and dig further to the south. All right, so it kind of happens. It happens kind of late, though. They kind of jumble up together, the upper low and the energy to the south of it with the trough. And then you see energy behind it. This is our second time frame diving down. Little multiple pieces of energy, all kinds of stuff right into here. Okay, are we going to get some kind of phasing, consolidation of this energy? It kind of shows multiple punches of precipitation, areas of energy. One right here, Saturday morning, one behind it, and they're all diving down, and at the very end, something tries to connect that actually delivers snow as far south as northern Florida, but it just happens a little bit too late, and then we get after it. Now, a closer look at things. Same thing when I've done the last few videos. Let's talk about the change, how these little small scale changes with the first time frame make all the difference. Okay, so this is the morning Euro run. All right, shows snow across the mountains and snow breaking out across the mid-Atlantic, but it doesn't show much snow kind of into the Piedmont, North Carolina, and South Carolina, etc. You look at the run overnight, looked a little bit better. Showed some snow a little bit further south. You can see it over Charlotte, northern South Carolina, and it just shows a bigger snowstorm event across the central to southern Alps. Okay, so I hope you can see the difference. I'll do it again. That's the current run. That's the overnight run. Current run, overnight run. You can see there's just snow a little bit further to the south. Now, the energy associated with it, what's the difference? Kind of the nerding out part of this, right? This is the vortice energy associated with this run. Not as much snow further to the south. That's the energy associated with it. This is the energy associated with it with the run overnight that delivers a little bit more snow to the south and a more of an aggressive scenario of snow across the Appalachian Mountains. So what's the difference? Okay, this is the run that doesn't deliver as much. Okay, kind of eyeball it here, and then I'm going to click on this tab. Did you see any difference there? Bang, 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 bang. So this is the run that doesn't deliver as much snow. You'll notice that the energy doesn't look much different than this. It really doesn't, except it's not digging as much. So the morning run really has this coming together a little bit further to the north. The energy's not really connecting fast enough. So, basically here, the energy is consolidating a little bit further south to the southwest. Therefore, it's able to blossom more moisture, okay, further to the south compared to this. Okay, so the energy is just digging more here. This. In that northern piece of energy, and I'll back it up a little bit, right here. You see this right here? And this is the run overnight. You see this energy right here and this kind of separate area of energy right here? They both combine. They come together on both runs. Okay? Right here. Okay? There's a difference in timing on when they come together. And there's a difference of position when they come together. And you can see that right here. Okay? They kind of come together a little bit further north on this run compared to this run. And that makes the difference between this and this and this. Okay? And another thing here is how's the tilt? So let's follow this blue line here. How's the tilt on the run from this morning? Okay, it's starting to tilt negatively. When it tilts like that to the east, it's starting to tilt negatively, all right? How is the tilt on the run from last night? Okay, it's not much different. The energy's coming together about the same. It's just coming together. The timing is a little bit different, and it's not digging as far south. Now, there's a lot of ways you can explain this, and what's driving the energy to come together at a different time, to dig differently, further to the south, further to the north. Well, you can kind of go back to the ridge placement, back to the west, but I'm not going to dive much into that. But I mean, I don't want to nerd out with you too much here. But this is another way to look at it, the lower heights, right? And these kind of shades of green embedded into the blue around it. This is the lower pressure. Where is the position of the lowest pressure? Okay, this is the run from this morning, the current run. This is the run from overnight. So you see that small difference here? It might be better to look at it here. You see that small difference here? The energy itself, it doesn't look a whole lot different. It's the position of it. And it's just a little bit further to the south, which allows for more precipitation to the south on the run overnight compared to the current run. I hope you can see that. So going past this, what else are we seeing? And I haven't really dove into this much. I think we will have a moderation period. Like this is starting off Tuesday, not this Tuesday, Tuesday the 20th, the day after Martin Luther King Day. Okay, it looks like kind of our trough begins to move away. That's not a lock. A little bit of a ridge kind of moves in. But look at, as we get into the long range, how we've trended once again to a trough in the eastern U.S. And this is prime climo time. Late January is the coldest time of the year, mid-late January for most people across the lower 48 and just North America. So we're starting to break loose that ridge. So all those people, asking, are you worried about it warming up for late January? I'm not going to sit here and say it won't. I'm not going to sit here and say that it will. But I would say don't get too caught up in one way or the other. What I'll tell you is on the latest Euro run, between the 15th to the 26th, it has a pretty cold look for the coldest time of the year across the eastern U.S., a few to several degrees below average for mid to late January. That's cold, guys. That is cold. So all those winters over, folks, man, I'm not trying to be mean or anything, but y'all really, really sound ridiculous now. Crazy stuff. And just to take a look at the MJO chart, we might have an update here. Let's see if we do. Let's update the browser. And we don't. But it really looks like, and I'm going to look at this. Let's go down here. Man, it stinks. It looks like we're going to miss an upgrade, an update. I always get upgrade and update. I mix those words together. So let's get closer to this. And right now, we're probably in phase, what is the 11th? I don't know. We're in phase 6 or 7. I know. Don't let the kids hear that. But it looks like we're going to kind of straddle phase 6 and phase 7 over the next, I don't know, maybe 10 days or so, give or take a few days. Okay. So we finally have moved out this circle of death. If you're wondering what phases are more favorable for winter weather, it's certainly phase 8, 1, and 2. Okay. So we did move into phase 8 back in early December. This 3 and 5, that stands for December the 3rd, December the 5th. Okay, and it was cold. It was a cold and wintry pattern for early December. A lot of people forget because if it didn't snow for your neck of the woods, you don't really care. And I don't blame you one bit, but don't just think that it's been a crappy winter because it hasn't worked out for your area and you haven't seen snowflakes for your house. It was a wonderful start to December for a lot of people, as far south as Virginia. Now, you see that 21 right there? That stands for January the 21st. 10 days from now says we enter phase 7. And then we just boat race through phase 7, and I'm getting to phase 8 by the end of the month. Listen, if we get into phase 8, and if we can hang out in phase 8 for a couple weeks in late January, early February, model guidance is going to respond colder and winterier, and more winter-like for the central and eastern U.S. And we're going to get multiple threats of winter weather, even for areas of the south. The thing we don't want to do for us winter weather fans is get into phase 8 and then immediately go right back into the old circle of death. That means that we have a low amp phase. The weather is not going to respond much regarding wherever you are on this circle of death, whether you're leaning towards phase 5, phase 8, phase 1. It's just low implications on the weather itself. So we're going to continue to try to figure this one all out. We'll do another video tonight, guys. Buckle up. Don't get too caught up in all these run-to-run shifts. Okay, you gotta look at the body of work as part of having model maturity when watching this. And I know that some people don't give a rip about that. Just tell me if it's going to snow or not, Mitch. Well, I'm not the channel for that. And most people are not going to be able to tell you that if you just want yes or no answers. So I'm not trying to be mean, sarcastic. I do have a sarcastic way about me. And I'm not meaning anything by it. But when you have to deal with some ridiculous comments, that is my default thing to do, is to be sarcastic with it, or either I'm just going to be mean. So that's kind of my coping mechanism, right? And I'm trying to be funny, but some of the comments you read is just ridiculous. And, it's funny. Sometimes I'll drop a video on social media, and like 5 minutes after I post the video, somebody will just comment, "How much snow are we going to get for Billy Bob Town, Virginia?" And it's like, did you watch the video? I know not everybody has time to watch a 30-minute video on the weather, but I don't know. You get what I'm saying. It's a little frustrating. But I do want to do a Bible devotion really quick, and let's just make this our timestamp. Look at that. Let's make this our timestamp. So this morning, we're in Psalm chapter 37, verse 35, 36. And I actually ran across this verse, and it caught my attention, which I felt like it was God speaking to me, while just reading and cruising through Psalms right here. So it says, "I've seen a wicked, violent person well-rooted, like a flourishing native tree. Then I passed by and noticed he was gone. I searched for him and he could not be found. I wrote this in my notes here. I said, you will run across many people in life that are strong, very successful, and are living a life embracing sin. You might wonder why they are thriving in this life. Do not get caught up in all that. Focus on the path that God has laid out for you. The success that evildoers have made, the success that evildoers have made on this earth has no solid foundation. And I read this when I was kind of researching this scripture. It says, unrighteous success is fleeting and ultimately leads to ruin. That really hit home. So I know a lot of people, probably every adult out there has, been going through life, going through the motions, and you're struggling. You're trying to do all the things that are right. You're following God's will, God's path, and you just feel like nothing is working out for you. And then, you look over the shoulder and you see somebody else that, is not living the life they're supposed to, living in sin, and they're thriving. They're doing well, doing awesome. Seems like they got all the luck in the world. Listen, I've been caught up into that. I used to have a really bad victim mentality in my young adult life. And that is part of my testimony of how I've grown and stuff like that. It was my biggest kryptonite. I even did it with people in my own family. Looked over my shoulder like, I don't understand. I'm trying to do the right thing here. But, and not to say that people in my family were doing terrible things, but just focus on God's will in your life. Okay. And don't worry about others that are succeeding, whether they're doing the right thing and succeeding, and whether they're not, and they are succeeding anyways. Don't get too caught up in that. Just wish them the best. If they're succeeding and doing all the bad things, just pray and hope that they get that right. And if it's somebody succeeding and doing all the right things, of course, we're all going to still sin, right? None of us are perfect, be happy for them. So it's easy to get caught up into that. And sometimes that can make you feel some type of way. And all of a sudden the jealousy kicks in, the envy kicks in. And we know where that can lead to. It can lead to hate. And we don't want none of that. So that's all I got, guys. We'll do it again tonight. God bless all y'all. Have a wonderful Sunday. And we'll talk again soon.